Hey, so welcome back to another Sunday session, Coffee with Soul. And this week I have the honour of being joined by Beth Taylor. And for anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Jordan, aka the Soul Diva. I am a self-love coach, a soul guide, and an energy activator. And I work with women who are healing from toxic relationships. And just on top of that, I have 20 years experience of working with trauma and abuse, the after effects of trauma. Beth and I connected several months ago while doing some even deep 6 months, she's on it.
6 months ago.
While doing some even deeper dive work into our self-mastery. And we connected as coaches, but during one of our conversations, the conversation turned to angels and our spirit team and spirit guides and so much more. I can't even remember, to be honest. Exactly. And I am going to hand over to Beth to introduce herself because I will miss out half the stuff she does.
Beth, great, nice. Thanks, Jordan. Yeah, it's lovely. So we met about 6 months ago on this self-mastery course, and we were putting a pod together, and we only really started talking about the spiritual side, and that's our connection on the spiritual side about 2 months ago, I think, right?
Yeah.
And that's led to obviously down another path. But initially, hello everybody.
Come back.
To start with, come back, ground. I am law of attraction, manifesting, clarity and consistency coach, basically. So clarity and consistency is basically it's what law of attraction loves. Law of attraction, to manifest what you want. They love you to get very clear on your goals and then get very consistent and visualize. And so I have a whole coaching plan that I take new entrepreneurs through, not only women though. I also take male entrepreneurs through my coaching successful system. So it's all about clarity and consistency and working with trusting in a higher power and manifesting your goals and what you want to achieve. And it's the spiritual side. Let's just talk about that, because that's the other thing. I've got this left brain, right brain thing going on. I don't know about you, Jordan, but for me, left brain is all the logical, ordered, analytical side. I come from a corporate background, right? I've worked in corporate for 25 years. That's my left side, right? And then the right side brain is all about creativity, intuition, free thinking, woo-woo, right? So I've always been in this kind of challenge thing, because I mean, from about 4 years old, my backstory is from about 4 years old, I was talking to spirits, and it was just kind of suppressed. And then I was bullied, and I went through everybody, dark nights of the soul, like everybody does when they're spiritually growing, mostly growing, right? And it kind of pushes you into that direction. There's no growth with comfort. It's uncomfortable. So all the uncomfortable moments I had, I'm speaking to many other entrepreneurs, and we've all had those uncomfortable moments that are awful, but have made us spiritually grow.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Memories of certainly in my early 20s, memories of many a night on the floor where it just feels the darkest possible point, but actually that was the springboard to the next thing that I needed to go through. Right. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And did you ever have that left brain, right brain thing happening where you're just logical and analytical, and then you've got creativity? It's like the devil and it's just like the two dancing little sprites, little fairies on your shoulder, one going, we need to be analytical, we need to be logical and do this. woo, let's go in this direction, right? And it's just this constant.
It feels like that head and heart.
Yeah.
Those, when you're making those decisions of, you know, the head saying, well, that's the craziest thing you could ever do. That is not sensible. Why are you doing this? You know, the sensible thing would be to stay in your comfort zone, not grow or, you know, financially, why are you doing that? You know, thinking a few years ago, and I handed in my notice with no job to go to,
Yes.
because the job was so soul sucking. My head.
Soul sucking. Now let's just explain that. What do you mean by soul sucking? Because some people would understand that. I understand that. But just for the sake of argument, for an audience who doesn't understand what that is, what is soul sucking? Tell us.
Well, to me, it was going into work and no longer being myself. It was that bit where I could literally feel myself disappearing into the role. And my physical self, my shell, was going to work. But the rest of me was just not there. And
funny, I did a live video the other day, and it was called the Spiritual Awakening Journey. And that's part of the journey, isn't it? It's when you soul sucking, is when you just there's something missing. You're doing everything, but there's just something missing. That's how I would describe it. Something
huge
missing, right?
Yeah.
You can't say you're unhappy, but you can't say you're really happy, but there's just something just not quite right.
Doesn't fit you.
That's right. Yeah.
It's not your thing. And I think, and going back to your, you know, the left brain, right brain, head, heart.
Yeah.
You know, head, sensible thing would have been like, well, make sure you've got money coming in next. And it was like, no, I just need to go for myself, for my heart, my soul. I need to go. And literally the next day was offered 2 further roles, but I had to have my notice in. People needed to know I was available.
Right.
So it was by doing that right brain that just go for it. This is, you need to get out. That then I ended up where I not only needed to be, but actually where was completely the right thing for me. I found a team. I felt like it wasn't just a team, you know, it felt like a community, a family, and that was sort of my next springboard. What's the word I'm looking for? I was about to say automatically. That's not the word I was looking for, but that was my next springboard.
I tell you what, that's law of attraction at its best, really. That's law of attraction at its best. The minute you decide to do something, let go of something, you then, because everything is energy, right? So we know this, right? Everything is energy. So, you know, when you're blocked and you're not feeling that there's sort of the feeling that something's missing. So you make the decision then, and the right side, brother, the heart makes a decision that it wants to do something. And immediately, you know, law of attraction starts working, and it like attracts like. So when you decide, you know, that you want to follow your heart, that's the feelings of law of attraction and manifesting. And you make room for that new energy then to come in. You make the decision to finish something. And then you've got to let go and trust. Like you said, you were just like, oh, well, how am I going to, how is this going to happen? How am I going to get money? How am I going to survive? And all, but actually then 2 new opportunities came in for you. And that's when you know it's the correct thing to do, right? Yeah. It's just following the breadcrumbs, as I call it, right? Following the... Yeah,
absolutely. But I don't know about you, it's that I always find when I do that, I either keep those things very quiet, or if I don't, I get what are you doing?
Right. You mean the human aspect comes in, right?
But not
the humans.
Yeah, not from me, from everyone else. It's like,
exactly, right.
How can you do that?
Yeah, why are you doing that? Is there something wrong with you? Why are you giving up a perfectly good job? What's are you doing with your life, right? See, other people don't understand. That's part of the biggest hurdle for new entrepreneurs, is that they've decided to take this leap of faith into a business, or, you know, following their destiny, and suddenly they've lost a whole load of support around them, because suddenly they find themselves alone. And, you know, that's why it's very important, as we know from being new entrepreneurs, to find your tribe and to find a connection of people that will support you. Obviously, you could find a coach and a mentor. That goes without saying, right? And I'm very biased, as is Jordan, because we're both coaches and mentors. So, but it's very important, isn't it, to reach out to communities and find your tribe, because you do find when you go on this path, other humans, the other people around you don't understand it because they're not on that path, right?
And I think as well, so thinking of obviously some of the women I work with who aren't necessarily, you know, entrepreneurs, and thinking of toxic relationships, and quite often when they exist in work, and when it's got that uncomfortable at work, sometimes those decisions, I believe, are actually taken away from us. So one example actually has just come to mind, was less about a toxic relationship, but it was one of my old colleagues who knew she needed a break, knew she was overworking, and went to a meeting and fell down the steps and broke her ankle. Exactly.
Can't get a bigger sign than that, can you, really, right? And I know other stories that are similar.
Yeah, so I think there is that, when you're in that space of left, right, head, heart, whatever you want to call it, if it's that uncomfortable to be in it, but you don't choose to walk away. And again, thinking of those work relationships, especially when it may be bosses, actually, quite often you look back and realize something happened to get you out.
Yeah. Look, the universe intervenes, right? It's divine intervention.
Yeah.
It's a big sign that says, hello, you're not listening to me. Can I get some attention here, please? You need to stop doing this and go in this direction. We're going to make sure you do, and we're going to stop you in your tracks, right?
Yeah. Well, because quite often the person's putting out, they don't want to be there.
Yeah.
Their thoughts are on, I don't want to be here. Yeah. Their energy is on, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be going into this every morning, or whatever it might be for, you know, entrepreneurs and people outside those relationships. And so all of that vibration and thoughts and energy is in that direction. The only thing that isn't is the fact that they're still getting up and walking on into work every day.
Right. Well, it's that 90% we're on autopilot, right? Yeah. 90% of the time we're on autopilot, which is why it's, I think, a lot of when you have a spiritual awakening, you start listening to heart overhead, or you balance the two and to move forward. So you're doing it with aligned action steps. It's just I've forgotten what I was going to say, Jordan. I've lost my train of thought. What were we saying? Don't know why I've lost my train of thought.
You were talking about the 90%. That's
right. So most of the time we're on at this autopilot. So self-awareness is really, really important. And that's why, you know, regardless of if you're a new entrepreneur or you're a business owner, it doesn't matter how old you are, what gender you are. It doesn't matter. What I'm going to tell you now, those that are listening, is to become self-aware of what you're doing, what you're saying, and what you want. So start with gratitude every day, right? Have an attitude of gratitude. I'm telling you, if you want to go with left brain, logical, right? Let's just take the woo-woo away and just go for logical. I challenge you just to have gratitude every single day. Every single day, be thankful. Have a list. Start with 5 things and just add one on every single day. Add something else, right? I'm grateful. What are you grateful for? Maybe you don't have very much, but you've got something. I'm grateful for my house. I'm grateful for my bed. I'm so grateful that I've got heating. I'm so grateful I've got food in my fridge. I'm so grateful for my Wi-Fi. I'm so grateful I've got a telephone.
I'm so grateful I've woken up this morning.
Right, I'm so grateful I've woken up this morning. Exactly. So, you know, and so it doesn't matter, you know, Jordan works with, you work with women, females mostly, yes. And I work with, from a toxic relationship background, that kind of thing. And I work with new entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter. The basics, the fundamentals should be there for everybody, right? Which is the gratitude. So I challenge everybody right now, doesn't matter what you do, what background you're from, who you are, what age you are, I challenge you to be in gratitude every single morning. It will change your life.
It's the seeing the gifts, and I can't remember who spoke about this. Now I've said it and I'm like, anyway, it will come. But it's the seeing the gifts in everything. Yeah. So even in those worst situations, and obviously at the moment, you know, without getting into politics and world situations, but around, there's a lot of difficult situations, but there's always gifts in everything. There's always a gift to see, and there's always something to be thankful for, however horrendous it feels for you right now.
And it changes your vibration, it changes your status, it changes your mind. You can flip, because the moment you wake up, you know, a silly scenario for me, I've talked about it before. My best friend, I've been best friends with since she was 10. But I haven't seen her for a while, and she's a bit, because I'm working all the time and I'm focused on my business and I'm focused on doing, you know, on my goals, and she's a bit sort of wild. And so anyways, I said she could come and stay here with me. She knows this, I've told her this story, so I'm not telling lies out of school or anything. Or and then one morning, after inviting her and waiting for her answer, I just woke up and I was in the kitchen. No gratitude, didn't do my, got up, and normally I go, oh, thank you for that, I've had a lovely night's sleep, thank you for my lovely bed, oh, thank you that it's raining and watering the garden, I don't know, thank you that it's sunny, right? And instead of doing any of that, just went straight into the kitchen, zombie mode, made my coffee, and my mind immediately woke up and started going down a rabbit hole and started to think about all the things that could possibly go wrong. What if she comes here and she's really noisy and I can't work? What if she comes and she interrupts my life? What happens if she comes and she's not happy and I have to take care of her? What happens? What if? And I suddenly just said, whoa, Beth, you have just gone down a rabbit hole of worrying about nothing. And I suddenly just said, thank you for my coffee. Thank you for my lovely morning. Looked around. Thank you for my kitchen. Rattled the cutlery drawer, right? Thank you for all my cutlery, right? It's just, and I snapped myself out of it. And that's part of being self-aware, isn't it? And coming out of autopilot, because that's why I'm saying about the gratitude is so important, because it will immediately change your state of mind in the morning before your brain has time to wake up and send you down that bloody rabbit hole.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. It's part of that. You know, I'm not a get up at 5 a.m, you know, get up the hour early, do my exercise, do my journaling, have my coffee all by 6. Not me. But absolutely, the gratitude for me, it's part of a morning practice, as I know it is for you as well. But there's also that it's whenever it is. So that, yes, the gratitude's first, but actually it might be I have forgotten it before, and you know, you're suddenly making coffee or in the and it's like, but it doesn't matter. Like, there's no beating yourself up. You've forgotten. You just do it.
Yeah. Just do it when you remember, right?
Yeah.
I just like to get into the habit of waking up and do it, and it automatically,
absolutely,
you know, before I start. But you know, on that particular morning, I just, for some reason, I don't know, I just got up and wandered into the kitchen. I think it had been a full moon the night before. I'd had a bad night's sleep. I was just like totally monkified, right? I was just like, ooh, zombified, ooh. And coffee, rabbit hole, worrying, if this. I'm like, oh my goodness me, where are you going, Beth? Snapped out of it immediately. So it's just, you know, and it's one of those, I'm sure that I mean, this is something that's in my coaching because it's part of the manifesting, and law of attraction is all about positivity and like attracts like. So it's really, it's like a priority for me in my coaching.
Absolutely.
How do you use that? Do you use that in your
yes, because
coaching?
mine comes in, obviously mine has law of attraction in it, but it's much more subtle. It's not the main way of working. But I do energy work. So we do, and we, within the feminine energy side of it, it's looking at the intuition as well. So it's, how can we build that? And obviously the starting point is gratitude, and part of that as well is the gratitude for the gift of whatever that relationship or relationships has given.
Right.
So thinking of, my own experience, and for anyone that's followed me, I've written about it in several posts. I will always thank the person that was my toxic relationship for starting my social care journey.
Right.
Because of what they put me through, or because of the lessons I learned through them, should I say. Let's own it, not go into victim here.
It's not, because you were part of that, right? You
absolutely,
went into that willingly, right? So,
but it's taken me time to get there. But owning it, because of the lessons that I learned, I ended up taking an admin role. I ended up eventually moving back to my hometown, taking an admin role, again being offered 2 roles with the same organization, one at their head office and one in a project with young people. I was like, oh, the young people sounds fun, we'll go over there. And then suddenly realizing that all of these experiences I'd had, not just with this person, but previous experiences as well, I could actually use, because I had an understanding of what some of these experiences the young people were going through. And therefore there was a connection, and being able to say, yes, I've been there, I understand that. I might not understand your version and your own journey,
right.
but I've been in the sea. We might not have been in the same boat, but we've been in the same sea. Right. And so that's one thing I've always said, I am thankful for that. And I'm now thankful, obviously, because it's that experience that now helps me help other people.
Yeah, because you worked in the health industry, didn't you? The health.
I worked with in the NHS as well.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's something I couldn't. I haven't. I never considered when I started my career. It's funny because my career has changed so many times, right? And it's all following just following what you love, isn't it? I went into hotel and catering, and I loved cooking. I still do. It brings me a lot of joy. And I went down that road. Then I went into that sort of corporate world eventually, and then came out and back into teaching because, we're just natural teachers, aren't we? Natural teachers, coaches are the same. We want to share our experience, right? And that's a sharing experience, isn't it? Obviously it's reciprocity there, because world of experience, come and see me, paying for the experience. I mean, that's just obviously, but the whole experience of life, listen, I'm not young, right? If anybody that's watching, I don't know, the camera's lying or the what.
You're all fine. You're fine.
I'm not that young, right? So I've had like a world of experience. I've traveled the world, and I've done most things on my own, and just had the most amazing experience following the law of attraction. Like you said, you had those choices, you kept moving, and you had new opportunities come in, and you decided to go with the heart and follow your heart. And that's how I've traveled. I've just followed my heart and decided, okay, I think I've finished with this. particular period of my life. It's time for the next thing, right? And the minute you decide to stop and make that decision, other opportunities come in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you'd agree, right?
No, absolutely. It's that. And sometimes it's the not knowing where those opportunities are going to lead. So again, another example for me is I spent a few years working in pub and club security, and we're going back 20 years. So at the time, there were very few women working in those roles.
Right.
And within the team, I was quite often the only female or one of very few. And very masculine energies. And certainly when I had the opportunity to work in a supervisory capacity, it threw up a lot of issues for at least one or two of the guys.
Right. Yeah.
Which, you know, did lead to a couple of very difficult situations. But the reason for raising that is it was that experience for me personally that led to me realizing that to be strong as a woman, I didn't need to be in that masculine energy. I can be vulnerable and I can be in this feminine place and I can have compassion and still be strong.
Right.
And I think so often, and especially in our society and in Western culture, strength and success, but in terms of some of those really top bosses that are female,
Well,
it comes with a expectation there's almost this masculine energy behind it, which knocks out our intuition. It's all very goal-based, it's all very, but so focused, it kind of overrides anything else that we're talking about right now.
well, I think that we've just, let's touch on that, because that's just sort of opened up a portal in my mind of the masculine energy and the masculine and feminine. Obviously, with the age of Aquarius, everybody knows about, we're moving into that with sort of Pisces, Aquarian, which is very feminine energy. And we're moving away from that heavy masculine energy. Now, of course, there is always bad men and bad women, right? Mostly it's more men than women, let's be honest. There's more men murderers than there are women. However, that masculine energy that women have been in for hundreds of years, right, of being persecuted, being in toxic environments, you know, the more people, so we're going to talk about the spiritual stuff now, okay? So for anybody that's watching, it's stay with us or turn off. No.
We're going woo.
We're going there, we're going in, cover me, I'm going in. So, but it's all the healing and the you know, as healers, as priestesses, as seers, as what used to call fortune tellers, whatever it back in the day, or, you know, or healers for the family. Women were we just had natural abilities, and unfortunately then, you know, the masculine energy came in and said, oh, we don't like this, because, you know, why are the females being revered and we're not? So they came in and sort of, we had the Knights Templar, we had religion come in and all the rest of it, right, to take over and to control. And I'm not sure about you, I know I've been burnt and drowned and tortured and persecuted, and I've had some nasty lives as a healer, and, you know, brilliant lives up to the point of, you know, okay, you're out you go, right? That was good up until that point. Right. So so I've had these lots of past lives as being very in touch with my healing abilities and my gifts and my psychic gifts. No. And, you know, it's been very difficult actually in this life to actually talk about them, as you know, right, Jordan? You know this story, right? So,
Absolutely.
you know, from the age of 4, talking to spirits, and then sort of, let's not talk about that, Beth, right? So, and then finding my way and following law of attraction, and now eventually starting, and we're right back at square one now, aren't we? Because now we're starting to talk about left brain, right brain again. We've come full circle, right? So, you know, and finally being, you know, able to talk about my spiritual gifts and go, okay, how does spirituality work with business, right? Because, right, I know you work with relationships. I work with new entrepreneurs, so it's been a really big thing for me. How do I do the left brain, right brain thing, the head heart thing? Because the left side of my brain goes, we like that. We like the logical, right? We like the analytical. We like the scientific proven stuff, right? But the spiritual side going, not really sure. Not really sure. We can talk about that. We've been murdered before. We've been persecuted. We've been tortured. We're not really sure we want to talk about that, right? So it's been a big challenge for me. And I don't know about how is your story, Jordan, with the spiritual side of you talking about your business? And
a little bit like you. So obviously my spiritual development started almost about 18 years ago, when I was very first attuned to Reiki. And then, you know, in 2008 I was sitting in Spiritual Circle, and it's developed. But it was I would choose who I would talk to. This was even before the business side.
Right.
And even in trying to blend it into the business, you know, and I've literally just renamed myself again because I was so aware of originally using a name in terms of the coaching, that where I wouldn't lose people and people wouldn't go, well, that's too woo for me. But the reality is, as we all know, and anyone that's out there knows, if they're the right clients for you, they're going to come. And there's something very strong about owning that identity and owning that spiritual side. I think that maybe the subtle difference, although it's not going to be a massive difference, between you working with the entrepreneurs and obviously working with people who have gone through toxic relationships, while it's still using the energy healing and the energetics, all of that can be brought in. Coming back into the manifesting, I think what we sometimes forget, and I know Mastin Kipps speaks on this, is that we can only manifest what we feel safe to manifest.
Right.
And so when it's coming to the manifesting, it's healing those relationship wounds, for want of a better word, first. Actually, that manifesting that safe, healthy relationship, whether it's an intimate partner or a boss, whatever that looks like, there's that step first to be done. And I know in talking to a friend actually a couple of days ago, and they come from a very scientific background and they're open to what I do, and I can speak openly about it. But I know for them it would be, let's start the coaching as coaching, and then let's the logical steps, let's start that process, and then it could be let's try this. Let's see how this goes, let's open this door for you, rather than coming in kind of full with the spiritual.
I totally get that, because, you know, that's exactly what I've done. So, you know, I have the logical scientific side of my coaching, which is step by step. I've got a successful coaching system that takes you through clarity, visioning, vision board, organizing time, getting your goals into, organizing those into time chunks, being consistent, to get results. And it's all a step by step. There's also some limiting beliefs, visualizing, and it's all scientifically proven. So it's kind of, I'm okay, and clients feel okay, because it's like, it's not too woo-woo for them, right? So
absolutely,
they can follow logical steps. However, I have an Akashic reading. I'm bringing the healing side back in and stepping into my spiritual gifts. So I'm kind of diversifying my business. I still want to keep the, the logical coaching system in, but I also want to bring in this, this new, bringing in my spiritual team, basically, which is a whole other level of, different, maybe different clients. And it's a step up for me. It's a step. It's also, it feels like a step up, but it's also very, it's stepping away from the left brain and into the right brain, from the head to the heart, really going into the spiritual side and fully embracing it, right? Fully embracing it. So, I've got this Akashic record, past life, immersion session, which I had a client the other day, and I'd done this before, but I hadn't actually experienced it with the client. I've just done it from an observation point.
Okay.
And actually one of my guides went with her when I did it last year. This time, actually, I went with this client, Kath, and I went with her and experienced what she was experiencing. And it was to heal some problems that she was having. Every time she felt about something to do this, she would feel sick. And it was to do with this past life many, many years ago, like 300 years ago, I think we went into this life, and I experienced it with her. And that was amazing. And that means that for me was amazing too, Jordan, because I have to realize that I have these gifts, and I have to step into these gifts. And like you said, it's like you start with this, and then slowly you go into this, you step into the spiritual, because, you feel comfortable enough that you've got this down pat. Now it's safe to kind of, step into a little bit at a time, right? One step at a time.
And I think there's also that for the clients. So listening to you talk, what's just come to me is, we are in this age where we're moving into the feminine energy era, for want of a better description.
Yeah.
And therefore we are moving more into that intuitive side. We're moving into this space. And actually, therefore, having, from a client perspective, the opportunity to work with someone like you, where they can come in and have the coaching, but also start to maybe open their own doors to this other side, rather than it being a very clear distinction of, either you go to see a coach or you go to see someone that's spiritual or an energy worker, or whatever you want they call themselves. Actually having these opportunities now, and there's so many people out there that are blending, particularly the coaching with the healing, or whatever other gifts they have. And I think it's just opening the door for other people to have those experiences.
Yeah, because it's the client, like you said, it's the safety, isn't it? They can come in, this is scientifically proven, I've got logical steps. And then, if they want to have that, they can have that, that other, they can step into some spiritual work, some energy work, some energy healing if they want to. I could also do it from the scientific side of limiting beliefs and visualizing and doing it that way, or we can do it with and whatever the client is comfortable with, right? So as I said, I've done it from the logical side, and now I'm bringing in the team. Come on then, Truth, let's go, right? Because they've been like this. I mean, we want to help you, Beth. And I'm going, back off. Doing all right, I'm just doing logical over here. I can't deal with this. I just, you know, it's just, and they're like, hello, hello. It literally has been like that, Jordan. Knocking on the door, let me in, right? Because I mean, you know me, I talk to my spirit team every single day. I have these amazing meditations. They give me downloads, all sorts of different information they give me, and they're just, you know, they're really pushing me to that next level of get us involved with your business. People want this, so there obviously is a call out there for this.
Absolutely.
You know, like you said, we're moving into that, moving out of that heavy masculine energy into the more intuitive, creative, you know, and I'm not particularly very girly. I mean, I'm a woman. I love being a woman, and I embrace my feminine sides, but I've also got that masculine, you know, that logical brain of what I've, you know, have done. So it's kind of, it's really nice to be able to blend the logic with the softness of the healing, the spiritual healing, right? It's a really great, it's a really lovely blend.
And again, hearing you say that, it brought me all the way back round to the manifesting, in this logical brain of, you know, having a goal and going for it, that actually being able to open that door more to the intuitive side, to the higher self that we all have access to. We can all hear ourselves when we sit quietly and are open to it. And just being in that space of being able to go, okay, this is what I want. And instead of it being that hard grind, well, to get there, I need to do A, B, C, D. And it feels like you're pushing and pushing. Being able to step back and sit in that quiet space, listen to our higher selves and go, okay, well, I'm being told I need to go to the shop now. I don't know why I need to go to the shop now.
It could be as simple as that, right?
But I'm going to put my shoes on and go to the shop right now because something is telling me I need to go. And of course, on that day, you go to the shop. And funny enough, for me, actually, it was a cafe. And I walked into the cafe and there was a manager that I needed to talk to about a job.
Right. You see, you just don't know, do you? I talk about this in my videos. Just follow those little breadcrumbs. You're sitting on the sofa watching a movie, and all of a sudden you just say, I've got to, you know, I don't know, it's a Sunday lunch, whenever you go to the cafe, go for a coffee. I just feel I've got to go out now. I just feel I've got to call this friend now. I just feel I've got to, you know, whatever it is that tells you those little inclinations, just do it. Because you don't know what that opportunity is. It's a nudge. It's what I call a nudge from the universe.
Absolutely.
No. Need to listen now. It is that logical, you know, there is that logical, most people, you see, because we've been trained and conditioned into logical. So, you know, if I say, well, you can just manifest anything, they're like, they've been taught that you can't. We've been suppressed. Humanity as a whole have been suppressed into thinking that we can't, that we're not good enough. As a whole, as a collective, we just think we're not good enough. We can't. Who am I to think I could do that? Who am I thinking that who am I that I could get that? No, that's for other people. That's not for me. But other people are getting it. So why can't you? What's different about you? Nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
And it will, as you said, and it is that we can get it. Sometimes it might not be the right time. Sometimes there might be a lesson or something we have to do first. Sometimes it might be that this, you know, it's not that we're on the wrong path.
Never.
It's just that we need to do the slightly scenic route rather than the motorway to get to where we want.
Some things to manifest, you can actually go on the motorway and you'll see. And that's why I break it down into time chunks, what's realistic. And the aligned steps, you were just saying about, you know, step, and it's just the aligned steps actually when you get very clear on your goals and you write them down, listen, guys, if you don't write down your goals, they're going to stay in your head and they're just daydreams. You've got to write them down and get clarity on them. As soon as you write them down, you've got room in your thoughts for more ideas to come and more information. And the align steps, once you start following, especially my processes, and there's lots of coaches out there that will do the same with manifesting and law of attraction. Once you start following some simple steps, the aligned actions, they won't come from me. They won't come from any coach. They'll come from you, because you'll just naturally know what the next step to take is, and it will be an aligned step because you're following the law of attraction. You're following a simple manifesting process, right? That's my experience, Jordan, and that's I don't normally give clients aligned steps. They know what to do.
Absolutely. And I think it's not just the aligned steps, it's also what we're asking for. So before today, I'd remembered a humorous story about one of my vision boards. And this was about 3 years ago. I'd done my vision board and I'd put a cast member from the TV show Nashville on my vision board as a representation of getting back to Nashville.
Right, okay.
Representation, that was the full intention. About a month later, the Nashville cast announced they were doing a tour of the UK. So I didn't get back to Nashville that year, but the person that was on my vision board, I saw live instead.
See, it just comes in different ways, right? It might manifest, and it might manifest in the exact way you said it would, right?
Absolutely. So the literal thing that was on my board is what I got.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because did you want to go back to Nashville, or was it about the person?
I wanted to go back to Nashville.
It was about, so you see, it's about getting very clear, because the universe was obviously very confused, and it just said, oh, look, she wants to meet this person. Let's get her to meet this person. Boom, there we go, right?
Exactly.
And you can get back to Nashville. So you see that the clarity with the goals is really important. It's just like, oh, I want more money. Well, I don't know, what's more money? Because if you've got £1, more money is £2, right? I mean, literally. So you've got to get very clear. And when you're visualizing, how much money do you want? What do you see in your bank account by the end of this month, the end of this year, right? If you're asking for £1 million by tomorrow, I mean, come on, you've got to be a bit more realistic, right? Could you do it in the next 12 months? Very possibly. You'd have to follow follow the breadcrumbs and say yes to all the opportunities that come in, and it is possible, right? $1 million, maybe not, because I don't think overnight success is very healthy anyway, right? Just to have a load of money. We see lottery winners and they just get a load of money straight away, and they just frit it away, and they doesn't make them happy, right? But if you gradually get that money, and you've got your goal, and you just do it in stages, you see, the joy is in the journey, right? The joy is in the bloody journey.
Yeah, and it's also, we're back to, for anybody, it's back to also what we're safe manifesting.
Right.
So if I said, oh, I want to manifest, I'm going to push this one. So if I said I wanted to manifest 10 million by tomorrow, could I do it? Probably. Would it feel safe? Well, I've never had that kind of money. What would I do?
What would you do with it? What do you want 10 million for, right? What is impossible in your life right now?
Does it feel safe to have that drop in without a step in between, or several steps in between?
Yeah.
To me, no. My body, and I think the one bit that again, this is something that Preston Smiles talks a lot about, is developing a container, our bodies, that can hold what we want and who we're becoming. So if we
preparation,
but it's, for me, it always feels a little bit more than that, because I think when I've heard of a lot of talk of law of attraction, there's a lot obviously about mindset and vibration and all the stuff you need to do, but there's something about the embodiment of it all, and it's more than the feelings. It's actually, are we safe to do this? Are we ready to receive it? we might want it. We might be able to feel all the feelings. We can be in that place, and everything that, you know, the books say, or whatever it is that you've done, if you haven't worked with somebody.
Yeah.
But actually, if you are not ready to receive, or it doesn't feel ready to receive, either it's not going to come, or it's just going to come and then it's going to go, and it will be that self-fulfilling, well, of course it wasn't going to happen to me.
That's the trusting, the believing, and the letting go, right? It's the letting go of how. And that's why I said preparation, it's all. And then you said it's all about the getting into gratitude, getting your goals set, affirmations,
and really embodying it.
What's next? What's the next step I can do to get? What's the next step? And the joy is in the journey. It's what I would call, it's the preparation. It's preparing. You said it's embodiment, but for me, it's embodiment. It's preparing your mind, your body, your, you know, mentally, physically, preparing for, you know, but enjoying the journey. And listen, there is so much information out there on manifesting and law of attraction. There's just so much. And, you know, that they collectively, they probably give you the information that you need, but there's just so much. It's not misinformation. There's just so much of it. And you just need some simple, just go about your daily life. Just don't worry about it. Just have some joy, and enjoy in the journey, enjoy your life. Have some time in the morning for you, for self-care. Fill up your own cup. Gratitude, affirmations, visualize your goals, right? It takes an hour, and then maybe go for a walk or do something, exercise or whatever, an hour and a half. Give yourself that every morning. I know that's difficult for mums, but I'm not a mom, so I don't know, right? It's just, that's
5 minutes in the car after you've dropped the kids off.
There you go.
Or a podcast if you've got a commute to work, and that kind of, you know, you can have that inspirational space. But even if it's your favorite song in the car after you've dropped the kids off, if that's the moment that you can get for you,
of joy, something for you, that's right. Anything that fills up your cup. Favorite music, favorite dance song, favorite podcast, right? Whatever it is that fills up your cup, do it. Get that joy in, right? Because we forget about ourselves, right? We just get busy with lives, and we forget about looking after us. I've made that mistake. I'll put my hands up.
I think we all have. I think the reality is we all have. And the other thing is, you know, and again, this is a Gabby Bernstein who's always about, you know, the more joy that you're in, the more joy you're putting out, the more you're going to get back. So it's that. Absolutely.
Like a magnet, right? Whatever, negative attracts negative, positive attracts positive. Set your day up every single day, whenever that is that you've got time, as soon as you can, right? But the end of the day is too late for that. You've got to set it up as soon as you can in the morning to set your day, you know, with the gratitude and filling up your own cup and finding that joy moment. Like you said, Jordan, if you're a mum, whatever that means, if it's when you dropped your kids off, it's 5 minutes driving back with the podcast, you know, something, or music or something that's going to give you some joy, right?
Absolutely. I am aware you and I can talk forever.
Yeah, we are. I was just looking at the time. We've been an hour now, so that's
right? It's we're just gonna have to do this again. Before we shut off, is there anything else that you'd like to share?
Well, we were talking about I've got all the business side of things, but we were talking about the spiritual side. And actually, I had a download. For those of you who don't know what a download is, it's something that just came to me in my meditation, was given to me in my guides, and it's a new program, and it's called The Soul's Journey. I'll talk about it briefly, but I don't have all the information yet because I haven't worked it out. It just came to me this morning. And it's a soul's journey. It's 3 levels. We've got a love and light activation, which is level 1, validating your vibrational level, which is level 2, and then a collaboration with your soul family, and that's finding your soul family, the reason, the purpose that you're here, and how you interact with each other, and what is the purpose of you being in each other's lives, either here or some of them may be on the other side of the veil. And it's 8 clients plus me, because I was thinking 8. Strange. I want 9. Oh, of course, there's me. So that makes 9, right? So yeah, it's a circle of 9, and together we'll do group sessions, and then group session for level 1, individual sessions for level 2, which is actually a beautiful meeting with the Council of 12, which are the purple beings. It's a beautiful experience. They're lovely, lovely beings. And level 3 again is in the group, as a group meditation to meet. Everybody meets their soul family in this group meditation. As I said, I've just had this downloaded today, so it's very different from the logical side of my business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And are
yeah.
people just messaging you if that's something that they'd like more information on, or looking out for when you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, people can DM me. I've got lots of information on IG. I'm on Facebook, Blissful Transformation. You can DM me on any of those platforms to talk about it. As I said, it's only just been downloaded this morning, but I'd be interested. I'm just looking for eight women, and pricing, I don't know. There'll be a beta price, I'm sure. There might even be a freebie, because I might even do it for free to start with. I don't know, to see how it goes. As I said, I've just downloaded this morning, but it is exciting, guys. It's exciting. And oh yes, one more thing. I think that most of my audience knows, but new audience here and your audience wouldn't, is that I'm going to be away in June. And I've got a wait list for intake, for new client intakes for July 1st. Obviously, I'll talk to you before that. If you can jump on the wait list, and we'll have a conversation, we'll have a quick chat to get you on board and to get you ready for July. But I'm taking a break in June, guys, because I've been going.
You have.
And I'm taking a well-earned rest in June. So if you'd like to get on the wait list for July, and you'd like to, you can join that wait list, and I'll reach out to you, or you can DM me personally. Right.
Fantastic. Well, on that note, I don't have a wait list, and I've actually got space for 2 one-to-one clients. So
okay, very
there
nice.
you go. Anyone interested in that can DM me. Right, Beth, it's been lovely. And like I said, we could have carried on chatting for hours, but we will leave it here.
Part 2, won't we? Because
absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely would like to do that when I've come back from my break, maybe in July or August. Some point.
Well, dropping I'm going to be the one dropping the breadcrumbs this time. So dropping the letting everybody into a little secret. Actually, you and I already know we're going to collab on something.
Oh,
so we do.
Don't tell everybody. Don't tell us a secret.
I'm not saying any more than that. I'm just saying there will be a future collab with you and me coming out. So we're going to have to come back for that. Yeah. I will leave it there. Okay. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Jordan. Bye. Thanks for inviting me. Bye.